Everyone grows through being mentally defeated.
Yeah, Huples Cat. Beautiful sunny day, so I'm going to go for a walk. Being a prepper, I like to adapt things that I find from the non-prepping world. And today I'm going to do something very odd and very difficult.
I enjoy watching it. I have always been fascinated with the psychology of sports.
This is a trail on our property that I modified. I'm not altogether sure how long the trail is, but it's around about a mile to a mile and a half. And it's pretty rugged in places. Mostly it's not too bad.
It's really interesting to watch and see how a game that really revolves around not foot speed or strength, but your mental ability to compete and to withstand the difficulty. And the biggest thing of all, the uncertainty of never knowing how long the race will last until it's over.
Over the last 3 years I have marked the trail, and I've marked it so I can use it at night. Of course, me being me, some of the markings are quite interesting. This is the Christmas stump. Okay, so I'm going for a short walk in a Canadian forest. What has this got to do with prepping, you may be asking yourselves? A long time ago, and in an entirely different body, I actually used to do ultramarathons. That's road races and trail races and track races over 50 kilometers. Since I retired from that about 10 years ago, something happened and they came up with a new format, and I'm going to try that format today.
They run a 4.1667 mile loop once an hour, starting on the hour. The rules are simple. The loop is the set distance. The bell rings on the hour and they start. They have no assistance until they get back. They have to get back in less than an hour for the lap to count. And exactly 1 hour later, another lap will count. They have to be in the starting corral ready to go, and when the bell rings, they have to go. And it just continues going that way day after day and hour after hour until only one person is left. And when one person is the last one to complete a loop, they win.
You can try this as well. You can modify it. You can do it for cycling, swimming, walking, whatever you want to do, or even running. It'll get you a lot fitter, but fitter in the mind as well as the body. And that's a really key thing. That's what we tend to neglect. How to train the mind to deal with adversity. Well, I'm going to find out. And so are you. Well, how's he going to do that, you might be asking? See, I'm going to go on this loop every hour on the hour. It's 1 p.m. when I'm starting, that's loop 1. This way, then this way. Every hour I'm going to do one loop. So it's about maybe 2.5 kilometers. So after about 10 of these, I'll have done about 25 kilometers, around about 15 miles. Quite within my capabilities, but it's going to leave me sore and tired. The thing is, I'll be doing those 50 miles at 25 kilometers spread out over 10 hours. In ultramarathon running, this is called a backyard ultramarathon. Basically, you have a course of about 4 miles, 6.7 kilometers, and every hour you go out on it. There is no finishing time. You can just keep going until the last person has done one loop and nobody else is able to go out again. It sounds dead simple, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens to me over the course of today, this evening, and possibly into tonight.
Well, the advice for the runners that I give is I've looked at the statistics, and 75% of the runners who quit in camp, because the hardest part of the course is between your chair and the starting corral. It's harder than you might think to keep starting a race over and over and over every hour when it starts to become a little uncomfortable. And of the 25% that quit on the course, 75% of them actually stop and walk intentionally to make sure they don't make the time limit. Unless the course is unreasonably difficult, it's not that hard to run 4 miles in an hour. So you end up, when you start a race, one of two things happen. One is you win, and the other one is you mentally quit.
Everyone grows through being mentally defeated. It's not easy growth always, but you grow.
This is kind of the flat part of the course. I follow the beaver ponds all the way around to my shed and home. But it's going to be interesting at night. I will be using a flashlight, I think. You probably can see it's not like walking around a track. This is actually going to tax me physically. Not so much for the first 4 or 5 loops, but after that, physically, I'm going to get quite tired. But I suspect it's going to be the mental game that will do me in. That will stop me, I think, before the physical. But you'll get to see. I travel at about 3.5 to 4.5 kilometers in this type of terrain, so that's an approximate distance for me. But I hope you agree this is going to be an interesting experience, both physically and very much mentally. Actually, what happens if I take more than 1 hour to do a loop? I finished. I'm done. Just finished loop 1. Current temperature is about 20 centigrade, about 70 Fahrenheit. See you on loop 2. Loop 2, 2 o'clock. It's about 20 centigrade, about 69 Fahrenheit. So my first loop took me about 25 minutes, and I think this one's probably going to be about the same. And we'll see how that goes. Kitty's going to time my food and coffee and all that stuff to the gaps in between the hour. I've seen about 9 turtles, various sizes, some quite old, most of them quite young. Nice to see them in the pond. So why am I doing this? What am I going to get out of it? Well, I hope I get a few things out of it. It's going to get me a 3 to 4 hour walk in, which is always good for the activity level. But it's going to be fun to see if mentally I can keep going.
Because people have challenged me on this point, because I've said, for example, in the past, I think you sort of discover things about yourself when you push yourself to the limits, and then I've been asked, well, what did you discover about yourself? Yeah. Which then asked me, I'm not quite sure, but well, I think that if you push yourself into that kind of pain cave, then for one thing, you realize that you can actually keep going through that pain cave a lot further than you imagined was possible. And probably then that gives you confidence just generally in life, when you come back out of it, you think you sort of have that knowledge deep down of what you were able to achieve when you were really pushed up against the wire, so I think that kind of that then feeds through into just everyday life.
Well, that's it for loop 2. I'll see you at the beginning of loop 3, which is at 3 o'clock. So Kitty and Wolfie have gone out there ahead of me, and I'm waiting for my timer to ring and gobbling down coffee. Time to go. So this loop's going to be a lot slower than 25 minutes, so I have to make sure I complete within the hour so I don't accidentally disqualify myself and then I'm able to stop. No, it would crush the little tiger. Little tiger tot. How you doing? Keep going. Keep going. Bravo, little terrier. Bravo. Nice to see signs of beaver. You trapped, Puff. How's it going, Puff? What's the time check, Kitty?
3:30.
3:30.
You should make it.
Keep going, Puff, don't stop. He's going for it. Woo! Doing very well. Well, that was my slowest loop. That was 43 minutes. Thank you for Kitty and Wolfie for coming with me on my 3rd loop. I'll be interested to see if 43 minutes is my slowest loop. Once I get up to 8, 9, 10, it should be interesting. Just setting out on my 5th loop. To this point I've done 5 miles, 8 kilometres in just under 2 hours because of the dog effect. And I'm feeling a little tired in between. Looking forward to finishing the loop and having a nice glass of water and a big rest. When you're doing something like this, you have to break it down by each loop. You can't start thinking too far ahead or you get overwhelmed. So right now I'm thinking 5th loop, get in, maybe it'll be dinner time, maybe not, rest up, then go on the 6th loop. This will be my last loop with sunglasses. It's about 20 centigrade. For those of you who are wondering, rain is forecast for 8 o'clock tonight, starting when I'm on my 8th loop. Evening. Spring peepers are starting to pop out and peep. So I'm almost at the end of loop 5 and I've walked about 10 kilometres or 6.5 miles or so. Like I say, it's not accurate. We do normal really hilly trails that are worse than this in about an hour 40 for 11 kilometres. So I think saying this is taking 6 kilometres an hour when I'm fit is reasonable. It's probably an undershoot, but that's okay. It's not the distance that matters here, nor in fact the time on my feet. What does matter is how much I can actually keep going. So get on the sofa, have some water, get up again. Well, this is my 5th loop, complete, almost, 20 centigrade. Next loop, there'll be no sunglasses, and I'm starting to think I might need to get a sweatshirt. I will be changing my shoes at some point when my feet feel a bit tired. That's always a good idea if you're walking or hiking or running a long way, is to actually change shoes about every 2 to 4 hours. I do have some Lara bars, and I do have sandwiches and coffee and water available in the house. That makes this great. That's the beauty of the backyard marathon, is that it's in my backyard, so I can do what I like. But it makes it mentally tough because it's really easy to say, well, I think I'll watch the rest of Ripley with Kitty tonight. Good show, but I'm not going to. She's going to watch Manchester by the Sea while I wander around here in the dark. Once it gets twilight, I will be carrying bear spray and an emergency gear, just in case I fall over and can't move.
What's your time to go?
Oh, loop 6. So I'm just about to go out on lap 7, and Wolfie's not joining me for this one. It's getting a little bit dark out there and it's raining a bit, so I'm going to take a raincoat. And wish me luck, I'm getting quite tired, but once I've done this loop I'll be more than halfway done, and I've been walking for over 3 hours. I've been fortified by Kitty's excellent cooking. It was homemade falafel wraps with homemade chickpeas and navy bean salads. Delicious, hit the right spot. Well, it's going to rain, so I've got a raincoat on. I have a little bit of bear spray, and I have a compass, which I'm sincerely hoping I don't have to use. I'm not going to take the flashlight on this because I'll be back before sunset, even though of the forest we actually lose light quite early on. And this will be lap 7 for me. So we'll see how this goes. My heart does not sing. So I've done 7 laps, and this one was my fastest yet, 20 minutes. It's been raining the whole way. They're freshly emerged. And there's my friendly ducks. As you can probably tell, they called for light rain, and it's just rain. So I'm hoping that the thunderstorm forecast for 1 doesn't come in early, but we'll see. That will end the adventure. But I'm going to rest up with Kitty for a bit, and at 8 o'clock go out for lap 8.
Gotta go, dear.
See you later.
Have fun.
Dark out there. 8th loop completed. It's down to 11 centigrade. It didn't rain much on this one, which was nice. As you can probably see, it's dark. It's not pitch black. This is not an eclipse fake movie. But the sky is very blue and it's very dark in the forest. So what I'm doing is I'm using this, a flashlight. It has ultra bright. Really cool. For about a minute I was watching a beaver splashing around trying to get rid of me, and they walked away obviously with its tail just going back and forth and banging its tail. Absolutely cool. And the owls are out and the peepers are out and the birds have basically gone to bed, and I'm going to lie down and rest until 9 o'clock when I start my 9th loop. Like I said, this one took me 22 minutes, my record is 20 minutes. It's going to slow down from this point because I'm feeling it. It's well over 3 hours on my feet and I'm kind of getting tired, but must press on. 5 minutes to 9, so in 5 minutes I head out on lap 9 and we'll see how far we get. At this point I'm feeling a bit tired. I feel tired when I've walked for 3 hours straight, obviously, but you know, my feet are sore and my back was a little sore, but it's fine. Just had some salted peanuts and a date square just to give me some nutrition and some salt, because I think I kind of overhydrate with water, which is common when you're doing this sort of thing. And yeah, I feel fairly confident. The flashlight's good, and seeing the beaver was a major bonus. Anyway, I'll see what I see when I go out at 9 o'clock. I think you're enjoying this too much. Bye. Lap 9 done. It's quite late, just after 9 o'clock. It took me 21 minutes. I was really impressed with that. It's quite freaky out there though. The beaver's still splashing around and you hear stuff crawling around and your brain starts playing tricks on you. But I'm maintaining the pace and I'm going to go and rest until 10 o'clock when I set out on lap 10. 18 kilometers, probably more than that, have been done.
You only have 4 more times, I think, don't you?
5 or 6. 5 or 6.
5 or 6 more times. Get to the baker's dozen.
Oh. Puffy, what's happening? moving. Just getting ready to set out at 11 o'clock at night on my 11th loop, and the beaver's been very active, so it's kind of freaking me out, but I'm going to try and deal with it anyway. Hopefully I won't be bitten to death. It's raining, thunderstorms are gathering, so I may have to call it after this, but if wise I will go on till 12 o'clock and possibly 1 o'clock. Done 20 kilometers at this point. I don't feel too bad, and it is getting a bit cold, but I haven't overdressed as yet, and I'm going to head out now. Well, it's about 9 to 10 degrees centigrade, and I just completed loop 11, so I've done a minimum of 22 kilometers since 10 o'clock this morning, and it's now just about 11:30. I'm kind of speeding up 20 minutes because I'm kind of scared, so I think I'm going a bit faster than I should do. I did get lost on loop 10 for about 30 seconds, realised I was off trail and navigated back the way I came, because you keep an eye on where you're going, right? So you can turn around and go back the way you came. I've been disturbing the beaver every time I go past. I think it's working on its dam, but I'm trying to be careful not to. And I'm also disturbing a couple of ducks that are living now on our duck pond, but I'm also not disturbing them too much, and I'm trying to be quiet. Anyway, I've done 11. I hope to do 10, so I'm really pleased with that. I will go out for 12 and 1 o'clock if there's no thunder. Not so much the thunder, but if there's any storms there, I don't want to get hit by lightning in the forest. Anyway, it's just about 11:30. I'm going to rest and relax. Kitty's watching a film called Father. I'll hang with her and the little terrier for a bit, and I will go out at 12 o'clock depending on the weather forecast. There's a peeper. There's a peeper. There's another peeper. And there's another one. We have an infestation of peepers. Oh, cute. Well, I was thinking I might go at 1 o'clock, but I don't have to.
Well, it's up to you. I might call it after this one.
Well, I did 12 loops, so I did at least 24 kilometres, possibly longer actually, but I'm going to call it 2. It's really on the short side of what it was. And this one took me 20 minutes. I feel pretty good. A little tired, but not too bad, and I could keep going, I think. It was an interesting experience, and I'm glad I did it. It taught me that I still have that inner resilience I used to have when I was an ultra runner, not just all fat. Well, I'll show you my statistics. I'm quite proud of that. Almost 5 hours of walking since 10 o'clock this morning. I'm going to have a quick shower and go to bed, and hopefully I won't be toast for tomorrow. Didn't feel too bad. Keeping it one at a time. I'm not going to go at 1 o'clock in the morning. It's just silly. There's no point. Kitty can't really sleep when I'm out doing this sort of stuff, so I'm going to go to bed. I think 24k was enough. I proved my point to myself. I still can do it when it counts. So whatever you do, get out there and do something that actually will challenge you. It's easy, but the repetition is going to be hard. Toodles. This video was brought to you by a Very Tired Terrier production 2024.